This video is simply an introduction to your assignment for the midterm exam essay. Now, this essay is short. I only require you to write one page, but please don't write more than 3 pages. This paper is a formal analysis and interpretation of the painting Better Homes and Gardens, made in 1994 by the artist Kerry James Marshall. In this essay, you are to consider all the definitions you have learned thus far and apply them to describing the artwork. You are also asked to give an interpretation of the artwork and provide a personal judgment on it. Below is a potential outline for your essay. You will receive points for touching on each element in the outline. You do not have to follow the outline specifically, but you are required to cover all the content in it. Be thoughtful and concise, do not ramble, and choose words that get your point across efficiently and effectively. Good luck. Alright, so like I said, I want you to think back to all the definitions and terms that you've learned so far in the semester, and I want you to apply them to this painting. I want you to do a full description, analysis, and interpretation of this painting. Now, to get you started, I wrote an outline. Like I said, I want you to keep it short and sweet. I want you to cut the fat. I don't want you to fluff up the paper. You don't need to stretch the paper out to make it longer, especially because I'm only requiring 1 page at a minimum. I suspect that most people are going to be in the 1.5 page range. Try to get to that point. It'll make your professor very happy. So at the beginning of the paper, many people like to do, of course, an introduction. They don't know how to start a paper. Well, the reality is, I don't want fluff. I want you to just jump right into it. So when you write your introduction, keep it to 1 sentence, and that's it. I don't want you to necessarily tell a story, just stick to the facts. So I wrote something that might get some of you started. You can use this if you want. In the painting Better Homes and Gardens, 1994, by Kerry James Marshall, the artist depicts ... And then I want you to jump into the visual description. You don't need anything else. I really, really don't want you to say something along the lines of for this midterm exam, I was assigned this painting by Kerry James Marshall. Don't tell me a story, just keep it to the facts. So 1 sentence for that, that's going to lead into this paragraph here. Your visual description, style and technique, describe the shapes, describe the value and color patterns, describe iconography and what they might represent, describe subject matter, objects, form, people, time, and place. So, style and technique, you remember these? And the description's organic or geometric or abstract shapes. Also talk about the value and the color pattern. So what is the color pattern? Look at how dark these people's skin is in the painting. It's not brown like you might expect an African American. It is really black. So what does that mean to be really high contrast? The difference between black and white. Remember? That is level of, like, contrast is the degree of difference, and high contrast, you've got very white whites and very dark darks. So what does that mean? Why is that there? And when you think about all of these elements, it's going to lead you into the visual analysis. So in 1 to 2 paragraphs, I want you to go back to these points and start figuring out, analyzing why these elements are there and what's going on. So talk about blah, blah. Sorry. Explain how the design elements make you feel. Talk about the emotion that the elements have. Also speculate on why the subject matter and different techniques were used. I see multiple techniques in this painting. Why do you think the artist used those multiple techniques? Speculate on why the describe current events leading up to 1994 and how they relate to subjects in the painting. This is important because it is important to have a good understanding of what led up to the making of an artwork. Remember that art is not made in a vacuum. It is always a response to the world around you, around the artist and the time that it was made. So like I said, I want to hear about the current events leading up to 1994. A common mistake for students is not doing research on this point. One of the simple sentences that I often get in assignments like this is, back then, black people had it tough. I've had people write that before. It's certainly true, but it's also certainly true that today black people and all minorities really have it tough in this country. What were the events leading up to 1994 that might have really given that might give a good understanding as to the climate in which this artwork was made? I write, black people have been discriminated against for centuries. There were, however, some notable events of the 1980s and early 90s that made life much harder for African Americans. What were those events? Try to name two of them. All right, so I'm giving you clues here, 1980s and early 1990s. So that would be before 1994, because you don't want to talk about events after the painting was made. But there are two that really stick in my mind. They have to do with race relations. So do some research, try to figure them out. If you throw something else in there that is a good that's a good indication of the climate in the early 90s, go ahead and do that. So then I want you to speculate on the setting of the painting. What place does it depict? There are clues in this painting that will really give you an indication of the setting of it. Do the research, jump on Google, figure it out. Use library resources and on and on. So that visual analysis is 1 to 2 paragraphs. Leading into, I want one paragraph that is your interpretation of the painting. Interpret it in your own words. So look at the description, your description in your analysis, and really sum it all up in one paragraph. What is your interpretation? What is the painting all about? You're talking about facts in the description and the analysis. Now try to tie them together. What is it about? Follow that with what will be your closing paragraph, a judgment on the painting. So what is your opinion on the painting? Do you like or dislike the artwork? Tell me why. Give examples. Is the artwork effective in conveying a message, and how? What is the message, if there is one? Is it effective in conveying that message? Describe elements of the artwork that are particularly effective or ineffective. So what is effective in the painting, especially as it pertains to what the painting is about or what the artist is trying to convey? So follow the paper up with your works cited. Now, works cited are important because it tells the reader where you got your facts and where you got your figures and your biographical information. All this stuff that you can't know or the reader can't know, you need to say where it came from. If you figured out what the location of the painting depicts or is of, that should be in your works cited. If you can figure out some current events of the 90s and 80s, put that in your works cited as well. These are all facts and figures and not common knowledge, so put it in your works cited so that the reader can look it up. And then if there's any biographical information that you should write about, include that as well. When you are done with your paper, here on Blackboard, you go to your exam turn-in and submit it here. It is worth 100 points, 20% of your final grade. So that is the difference between, say, a B, and if you're getting a B at the end of the semester, and you tank this exam, you're going to be 2 letter grades down. So that's a D. So this is a very important paper, and I know you can do it. I've made it easy for you, given you the outline, and I think you'll be fine. So go ahead and email me if you have questions, but I have a feeling most of you will be able to figure it all out. I believe in you, and good luck.